Hi, home stretch. This is going to be a lot simpler. I promise you. It's all about publishing and automation now. So we've talked about how to get it done, and now we're going to talk about where to put it in order for it to roll out without you even thinking twice. So we're going to talk about strategic scheduling, why the blend of live versus scheduled content is really important, and how we have to determine what that blend looks like for ourselves. The automation tools we highly recommend, so both paid and free. And if we can avoid having multiple tools, that's even better, but sometimes one or two or three is necessary. And then additional apps, packs, tips, and tricks that can bring our content to life in a better way. So better editing, better, content repurposing, sourcing, etc. And then finally, your challenge to activate the automation tool or tools of your choice so that we leave here with some of those maybe content pieces actually built and scheduled and ready to go. So when we look at the tool landscape, there's so many. As if you did our tools and tech course in our 360 series, you saw that there is like 15,000 pieces of software and social media automation tools and project management and everything else that helps modern day marketers do their job. It can be extremely overwhelming. We've narrowed it down into our favorite social scheduling tools, both for a single or limited platform use, so a couple of platforms, and then as well for the multi-platform, big, robust planning. So the singular platforms are smaller, are Planoly, Later, Iconosquare, Facebook Creator Studio, and LinkedIn that we love and that we've narrowed down. Planoly and Facebook Creator Studio being our A1 choices, and I'll tell you why. Later can do a lot of the same things that Planoly can, and it's been around a while. Both are fantastic tools and resources. Later is a Canadian company as well, which is cool. But I find, or a lot of people I feel like find the visual planning aspect of Planoly a little bit cleaner. There's just a few different variations between the two, and we've always really enjoyed Planoly just for so many reasons. Iconosquare has been around a long time as well. You've probably tried it or seen it in action. It's been known for its Instagram stats and feed insights, but it doesn't have the same amount of robust tools that Planoly and Facebook Creator Studio do. So when we look at our Instagram feed, Instagram stories, as well as Pinterest planning, layout, scheduling, analytics, and even social shopping, this platform is a beauty. You can use it on desktop, you can use it on mobile, you can have so many drafts or just like a hub of your imagery that you can pull in later when you're ready to add it to your grid planning, as you can see in that big image there. So the grid is on the left. It shows scheduled and live content that's been published. You can, of course, add your captions and your hashtags to it in advance. You can do a few other things that make it hit the ground running. You can add tags to your social shopping posts. There's a lot to it. And it really is just a very enjoyable tool to use. There's so many out there that you just think this is a terrible interface. It's super overwhelming and I don't even know where to begin, but Planoly is not that. The free version of our Facebook and Instagram planning tool and scheduling tool that we just love, it's come so far, I can't recommend it enough for various reasons, is Facebook Creator Studio. And it works for both Facebook and Instagram, of course. Not only can we now plan our content, see it in monthly layout form, so it's not quite the grid look that you see with Planoly, but it is, weekly and monthly posts in advance that we've scheduled. We're able to see them quite clearly. And then there's so many other tools within it, like insights or pre-boosting or, inbox that it's tied to. So the fact that this lives within Facebook Business Suite as a tool within the Facebook Business Suite environment is also just awesome, because if we've scheduled our content in Facebook Creator Studio, I can now pre-boost it from elsewhere in Business Suite. And I can then, manage it as it goes out and reply to the comments and the direct messages. I can then go create an ad for what's working. It's just all in one place. So it's also free, and a lot of these tools really start to add up, and that's obviously a big bonus in today's day and age. Multi-platform. So yes, it's frustrating that, for example, Facebook Creator Studio is limited to Facebook and Instagram, and we often wish that there could just be one platform to do it all. And there is, but they're not perfect. Because if we go use, for example, Social Pilot or Content Studio, my two favorites, well, then we don't have some of those benefits I just described with Facebook Creator Studio, like pre-boosted posts and inbox. There's an inbox, but it's not as, multi-purpose or robust. So you have to kind of weigh out the pros and cons of each, and don't be afraid to perhaps use Facebook Creator Studio for Facebook and Instagram, and then maybe Content Studio, super confusing, I know, for LinkedIn, Google My Business, Twitter, and Pinterest scheduling, for example. You could totally do that. So I won't go through all of them, of course, but there's some suggestions for you. Hootsuite, also Canadian, has been around a long time, but I don't feel like it's kept up as well with some of the other scheduling tools that have given us really beautiful kind of planning and grid view and whatnot. I still use Hootsuite for social listening on Twitter. It's great for hashtag searches and, industry conversations that you want to keep on top of. But it just isn't necessarily as nice a dashboard or as enjoyable of an interface as some of the others. But Social Pilot and Content Studio are the two I want to tell you about. So Social Pilot is nice and simple. You add in or connect your social platforms, so all the ones you see there, and then you create yourself a schedule of when you want posts to go out on each platform. If you want, you don't have to go that far. And then you fill your content bank and you say, this one goes into, the queue, and it's going to go out at that time according to the content schedule you've created. So that's kind of nice. Otherwise, you can just create a content bank and manually schedule it for whenever you want it to go out. But you have month view, you have week view, you have lots of other abilities to connect to Canva directly or, repurpose across multiple platforms, etc. So there's a lot to it, and it's pretty affordable. That's why it's actually one of the reasons that I liked it a lot, and its simplicity. Content Studio, a little bit more money and a little bit more robust, hence can be complicated or overwhelming to start, but it's also content sourcing. So I can pull in or connect my Feedly account, which is a newsreader for me where I track articles and, and bloggers or influencers in my field, and I can easily then find some fodder to repurpose into my own content or repost or whatever. Beyond that, I'm able to blog publish from here. I have an inbox. And most cool of all, I can categorize my content. So I can say, okay, this post fits into my A pillar. I shouldn't say categorize. We're talking about pillars. I can create, but they call it categories. So my A pillar, B pillar, C pillar, I actually included 6 here because I was getting a little bit hyper-focused. So I pull out my content pillars and I dump them into Content Studio as I'm setting it up. Then I create my weekly queue slots, which is super cool. So what I say is, all right, I want to post from my social media pillar A, Monday morning at 7:14, Thursday morning at 7:18. Oh no, that was websites. Whenever I want to, however frequently I feel like I need to post in that pillar throughout the week. And I've got a lot of pillars in here because I'm using different platforms and a couple different accounts. But if this was a simpler version, it would show several pillar posts throughout the week, or several posts throughout the week for each pillar. And it would determine what platforms they're going to land onto. So you can see with those little circles that I've said that social media pillar post on Monday morning is going to land on Facebook, Google My Business, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Ta-da! And if I want to adjust any particular post to say, only post this on Facebook, forget the others, or adjust the copy so that it's tighter on Twitter, it's longer on LinkedIn, I've got hashtags involved on Instagram, I can do all of that too. So it takes an hour to set up, and then from there, you're just filling your queue, and then those posts will go out in the right order, on the right pillar, at the right time. And that's really powerful because you know that then you're covering all your bases and you're not just posting that promotional content and forgetting to write or schedule content for pillar A, B, and C. From there, I can view it in calendar view and it looks really cool. And it doesn't just look cool, but it's like satisfying because again, you know you're covering your bases and you have a very visual, either monthly or weekly view of what's going out, where, and on what topic. So scheduled content is very strategic. It makes it happen and then live content keeps it real. That's where we're stepping in with stories or lives or, something changes in our world or our industry that day. And I'm able to step into the conversation without feeling like I haven't shown up for 3 months. That's where the scheduled content, helps. Because so many of us fall off for weeks and then we have a really hard time getting back in when we feel like we should or there's breaking news to be talked about. So if that scheduled content is always rolling, well, man, when you step in with a live update or story, it sure is meaningful. A few final bonus content hacks and helpers, some of our favorites for you to end with. Hemingway. This is a neat app or tool that will gauge your reading as you go, or your writing, I'm sorry. So if you were to load this into Hemingway after you've written your blog post in Trello or in your Google Doc or wherever you're writing it, it's going to very quickly pull out different aspects of the readability of it. So it'll tell you if it's too long or if it's too wordy or too short or, whatever it is. And it's a nice kind of editing tool that's very, very affordable and doesn't mean you have to go outsource an editor. Linktree, a lot of people use. You've seen this on Instagram a lot, I'm sure, where people reference their Linktree account, and that's where they're no longer changing the singular URL they're allowed to use in their Instagram bio every other day. When they want to link to that blog post in that, post in their news feed, but they can't because you can't make it linkable. So they have to reference the link in bio. And then sure enough, that link disappears as the next one is posted and it becomes a whole mess. So Linktree, linkinbio.com, there is a lot of these tools now that will allow you to create a great little roundup of maybe 8 or 10 of the links that you should be sending people to or that you want to live on your website all the time or on your Instagram feed all the time. You can also DIY this. So if you're not interested in paying for another tool or operating it like Linktree, it is free. A lot of these are free, but they have their branding all over them. And if you want to do more and access more features, you got to pay. And then you have another $19 a month account, which can get really frustrating. So you can also DIY this. What we've done on our website is created a page called Rocket Fuel. And so it's our URL, socialschool.io/Rocket Fuel. And that's our link in bio. So if you go to Rocket Fuel, you're led to our website, which I'm not sending someone to Linktree. So I'm building my SEO as a result because I'm driving more traffic to my site. And now someone's on my site, so they're more inclined to stick around. Hooray. And beyond that, I know that the mobile version of that page is going to have all of those short links right there. And of course, I'll update those as I go too, but it's branded for me. I'm not paying for it, and I'm driving people to my website. So I encourage you to DIY this if you can. I can't believe more people don't do this, and it's not too difficult, and it's really important to keep as many things as you can on your own URL. It's so important. Grammarly. Oh my God, I love this tool. This is like a mandate for all social schoolers where, you've got, I'm sure, hopefully you've stumbled on it by now, but if you are logged into it and it's free, unless you want to upgrade, it'll check your writing for grammar and spelling when you're not using Word or some other tool that's got a built-in spell check, because most of us are not in Word all the time to get the spell tips. We're in our email or our social posts or our scheduling tools and our e-newsletter software. And so if Grammarly is always running in the background, whenever you're on the internet, it's constantly checking your writing. And my God, we know how important this is and how embarrassing it is when things get published with spelling mistakes, particularly on social media or blogs or whatever, your press releases. And finally, Wordy. There's a number of online proofreading, writing, editing tools today. You can hire, freelancers on Fiverr or any kind of online writing service. There's so many. They'll write for you by the minute, or they'll write for you by the article, or they're total, they're not part of some giant conglomerate of writers. They're a one-off. Either way, it can be expensive. So if you can get the bulk of your copy or content written, or your staff, and then you need an outsider to just proofread it or make it better, there's tools for that too. Wordy is really neat because, again, you've got actual human beings behind it. And of course, they will get it back to you in however long you need it to be returned, and you can feel really good about the work. So it's your turn. I really encourage you to activate between 1 and 3 social planning and automation tools. That could be just Facebook Creator Studio, or it could be Planoly, or maybe you've got a different one and you really like the idea of that, or you just want to use what you've already got. I encourage you to set up the account, somehow plug in some content. Ideally, you've got one where you can start to plug in your content pillars, and then maybe some categories, or connect the platforms that you're connected to or that you're posting on, and then schedule some posts. If you've got topic ideas and you've already fleshed out some of those social posts or those content ideas, great, let's get them in there. Now is your chance. So good luck. Go back on into module 2 if you need to first build out some topics, but don't finish this course before you've got some social platforms and planning tools activated and you're ready to hit the ground running when we build into course number 3 and 4 and 5, where we build out our graphics and photography and visual assets in course 3. We talk about video and micro video and reels and editing tools for our video in week 4, or course number 4. And then we look at digital advertising in course number 5, which is everything from boosted posts and audience targeting to creating digital ad campaigns that really, really resonate. Great job in course number 2. And I can't wait to see where you take these tools. And I really look forward to seeing you in DIY graphic design in course number 3. Good luck.